Chapter 4754. 2,000 demon masters charged into the illusory heavenly palace. The heavenly soldiers and divine generals fled in panic. Split up into groups of a few and search the entire heavenly palace. Take everything you can. If you meet anyone from the heavenly palace, kill them all. Zixian ordered. My order is the same. Yin Kong also said. Yes. 2,000 demon masters roared. Their eyes were burning with excitement. They had actually attacked the heavenly palace. This was something they had dreamed of. The demons and the heavenly palace had been fighting for countless years. Countless demons had dreamed of attacking the heavenly palace one day and killing everyone in the heavenly palace. Now it had really come true. How could they not be excited? Immediately, the 2,000 demon masters split into groups of 3 or 4 or 5. They split up and charged in all directions. The illusory heavenly palace was incomparably huge. It was comparable to a planet. There were countless passageways and palaces inside. The 2,000 demon masters quickly disappeared in all directions. Yin Kong and Zixian also led a group of people and set off. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Guimo, and Wanshan formed a group and moved quickly along a passageway. Our target is the illusory heavenly palace's treasure vault. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the others. Treasure vault, I like it. Dandan's eyes lit up. However, the illusory heavenly palace's treasure vault must be hidden very deeply. I'm afraid it won't be that easy to find. Xian Yanqing said. And since it's a treasure vault, it must be filled with layers of formations. Guimo also said. So, we'll have to rely on Dandan. Lu Ming said. Don't worry, leave it to me. But after we find the treasure vault, you have to let me choose first. The light in Dandan's eyes became even brighter and more dazzling. They continued forward. At the end of the passageway was a large hall. However, they did not see anyone from the heavenly palace. They continued forward and passed through several long passageways before arriving at a huge courtyard. This was a herb garden. It had a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles. It was huge and filled with all kinds of divine herbs. In the sky above the herb garden, there were 7 dazzling gems that emitted dazzling light. Stars. Lu Ming and the others' eyes flashed. These 7 gems were actually stars. Stars. To be more precise, 7 stars were sealed into 7 crystals, forming 7 dazzling gems that provided light for the divine medicine here. It was really a big deal. These godly herbs are ours. Dandan grinned. The group rushed Heavenly Dao Palace Hall Palace suddenly, in the distance, resplendent radiance filled the air. Countless runes appeared, forming a large formation. Following that, figures, tens, God, palace, their heavens, palace, emperor, heavenly emperor, palace, God, emperors, divine palace, God, divine realm, cultivation, emperors, realm, God, emperors, realm, emperor, realm, God. 9 heavens battle formation, activate. Kill them. A loud roar was heard. Then, in the bright light, an incomparably huge figure condensed. Tens of thousands of heavenly humans at the Arch realm set up the 9 heavens battle formation with the help of the array that had been inscribed in the herb garden. Its power was very shocking. A huge heavenly human figure was condensed. It held a battle sword and slashed at Lu Ming and the group. Swoosh! Guimo was the first to make a move. He flew up and waved his hand, clashing with the huge battle sword. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. Cracks appeared on the huge battle sword. Then with a bang it collapsed. Even the huge figure had cracks on it. How is it possible? How is he so strong? Many heavenly human tribe powerful beings roared in horror. They were tens of thousands of heavenly humans, and they were all emperor gods. In addition, they had the advantage of terrain. The 9 heavens battle formations runes had already been carved into the herb garden. The 9 heavens battle formation they had set up here would be even more powerful than if they had set it up elsewhere. However, they were still not as strong as Guimo. This made them extremely shocked. Kill! Guimo let out a long howl. His body was like lightning as he rushed over again. He struck out with his palm and collided with the gigantic figure. This time, the gigantic figure was directly defeated. Afterward, Lu Ming charged toward the members of the heavenly human tribe. Defend! Defend with all your strength! The heavenly humans shouted in horror. They activated the 9 heavens battle formation with all their might. They turned into a defensive posture and formed huge shields. However, it was still difficult to defend against Guo Mo's frontal attack power was almost on par with the strongest Lord of Heaven in the Heaven Palace. Under the origin, there were not many who could match him in the entire universe. Such combat power far exceeded that of an ordinary Lord God. It was not something that the 9 heavens battle formation, which was set up by tens of thousands of emperor gods, could withstand. After a few explosions, the shields were penetrated. The 9 heavens battle formation was also torn apart. Screams were heard. In an instant, at least a few hundred emperor gods were killed. The 9 heavens battle formation was broken. Guo didn't give me a chance to attack at all. Dandan grinned. Even without Guo, Dandan was confident that he could break the 9 heavens battle formation with the help of the array. Let's kill these heavenly humans. Lu Ming said. His body turned into an aurora and rushed out. The divine battle spear appeared in his hand. With a shake of the spear, hundreds of sharp spear rays pierced out. Puff, puff, puff. The 9 heavens battle formation was broken. The heavenly humans were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered in front of Lu Ming. They couldn't withstand a single blow. It didn't matter if they were at the 1st Great Supreme God layer or the 9th Great Supreme God layer. They were all killed in one move. The spear rays pierced through the foreheads of hundreds of emperor gods. At the same time, Qiu also flew out and transformed into a halberd. It rampaged about and hacked about, killing large numbers of celestial race god emperors. Lu Ming didn't have any mercy for the heavenly humans. He wouldn't show any mercy. They were mortal enemies. It was either you die or I die. If he let the heavenly humans go, his family and friends might die in the hands of the heavenly humans in the future. When Lu Ming attacked, Xian Yanqing, Dandan and Guo also attacked. It was a one-sided battle. Large numbers of heavenly humans were killed like wheat. They're divine lords. We're no match for them. Even if we run away, the lords won't blame us. Where there's life, there's hope. Run out of the heavenly palace and find the lords. The remaining heavenly human tribe cultivators scattered and fled in all directions. There were many passageways in all directions. Lu Ming and the others chased them for a while and killed more than 10,000 emperor gods. However, the rest of the emperor gods ran away. However, Lu Ming and the others were satisfied. 10,000 emperor gods was a huge number. It was enough to make the heavenly humans suffer. More than 100 emperor gods could give birth to one divine lord. 10,000 emperor gods could give birth to 100 divine lords in the future. It was a big loss for the heavenly palace. Then, Lu Ming and the others started to collect divine herbs. Chapter 4755. Everyone began to search for the divine medicines. With a wave of their hands, large amounts of divine medicines rose from the ground and were collected by Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming put all the divine medicines into the ancient desolate ring. Most of these divine medicines were monarch divine medicines, royal divine medicines, or emperor-level divine medicines. Lu Ming and the others didn't need them now, so they planned to plant them on the fragment of the continent in the ancient desolate ring when they had time. This is a main divine medicine. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a stalk of divine medicine. Its medicinal fragrance assailed his nostrils, and its medicinal strength was rich and powerful. Its life essence was exuberant. A main divine medicine. I found a main divine medicine. On the other side, Dandan also laughed. The next moment, Bone Demon also said. He also found a main divine medicine. In the past, it was impossible for a main divine medicine to be born in the ancient desolate universe. It seems that the changes in the universe have a great impact. Since main divine medicines have started to appear in the ancient desolate universe, it's not impossible for an origin divine medicine to be born in the future. Is it really like what others said? Is the universe really going to return to the glory of the ancient desolate continent? Lu Ming pondered. His heart was in turmoil and he could not calm down. That was very possible. Ever since the ancient desolate continent was destroyed in the last era, the universe had almost dried up. Most of the territory had been reduced to ruins. The laws and intents were in chaos, and everything was deathly silent. The new ancient desolate universe, which was the universe, only occupied a small part of the universe and couldn't produce treasures above the main divine level. The entire universe was in an age of decline and the number of overlords was completely incomparable to that of the ancient desolate continent. Now, there was an opportunity and it wasn't impossible for the universe to return to the glory of the last era. The Heaven Destroyer can't be destroyed. Otherwise, the universe will really belong to the heavenly human race. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. However, he didn't stop. He waved his hand and put the main divine medicine into the ancient desolate ring. Under their wanton plundering, the herb garden was quickly swept clean. Almost all the divine herbs were swept clean. Not even the lowest grade divine herbs were left behind. Haha, this is awesome. Let's hurry to other places. I'm really looking forward to the Heavenly Palace's treasury. Dandan beamed with joy. They quickly chose a direction and continued their search along a passage. Soon after, they discovered several celestial race experts. They captured them and interrogated them about the location of the Heavenly Palace's treasury. However, it was a pity that these few heavenly humans didn't know about it at all. Their ranks were too low. Ordinary people wouldn't know about the location of the Heavenly Palace's treasures. Only the higher-ups of the Heavenly Palace would know about it. Not to mention them, even many divine master heavenly humans didn't know where the Heavenly Palace's treasury was located. After that, Lu Ming and the others captured a few more batches of heavenly humans for interrogation, and the results were all the same. His level was too low, so he had no idea at all. That's a good thing. If these people don't know, then those demons won't know either. Later on, it'll depend on who's lucky. Lu Ming said. Needless to say, those demons must be looking for the Heavenly Palace's treasury as well. The Heavenly Palace's treasury must contain a large number of treasures. Who wouldn't be tempted? They kept searching inside the Heavenly Palace. When they saw something valuable, they took it away. When they saw heavenly humans, they killed them as well. Just like that, they stayed in the Heavenly Palace for 7 days, but they still didn't find the treasury of the Heavenly Palace. If we don't find it in a few days, we'll have to leave. Dandan said. He was itching to find it. They had made an appointment with Zi Xian, Yin Kong, and the others in advance. They would stay in the Heavenly Palace for 10 days. After 10 days, they would have to retreat. If they waited any longer, the experts of the Heavenly Palace might come back. If the Heavenly Palace sent 7,000 to 8,000 divine masters, they would definitely be no match for them. Let's continue. If we don't find it in 3 days, we'll retreat. Lu Ming said. 1 day later, they still didn't find anything. 2 days later, they still didn't find anything. Soon, the 10 days were approaching. I found something. At this moment, Dandan's surprised voice rang in the ears of Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and the others were delighted. In a flash, they came to Dandan's side. There's a formation on the ground. It's an extremely hidden formation. Even a formation expert wouldn't be able to detect it. Dandan stared at the ground with a fiery gaze. They were in a courtyard. The courtyard was filled with flowers. Dandan stared at a place where the flowers were blooming. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Guimo, and Wanshan all looked carefully. They even tried to probe, but they didn't find any traces of a formation. Like I said, it's very hidden. It's a pity that you ran into me. I happened to obtain a formation in the Wanhua ruins and engraved it on my back. It can detect all kinds of formations. No matter how hidden it is, it can't escape my detection. Dandan said. After saying that, he began to wave his hands. Runes spread out and sank into the ground. After a while, runes began to appear on the flowers. There's really a formation. Lu Ming and the others' eyes lit up. Watch me break it. Dandan said proudly. Dandan, don't make too much of a commotion. It's best if you don't leave any traces. Lu Ming reminded. He was afraid that making too much of a commotion would attract the devils. They could just divide the Heavenly Palace's treasury. Don't worry, I'm better at this than you. Dandan chuckled. His hands moved faster and faster. Endless runes spread out. About 10 minutes later, the flowers disappeared and a small whirlpool appeared on the ground. Let's go in. This is a small passage that I opened. After we enter, the passage will automatically disappear. Those devils won't notice. Dandan said. Let's go. Without hesitation, Lu Ming took the lead and rushed into the vortex, followed by Xian Yanqing, Guo, Wan Shun, and finally Dandan. After they all rushed into the whirlpool automatically disappeared. Lu Ming found that they had arrived in a small stone room. The stone room was very small and empty. However, there was a stone door at the side of the stone room. The stone door was also covered by a layer of formation. It seems that we haven't reached the treasury. There are many checkpoints. But it's useless against me. Dandan chuckled. He walked to the stone door and observed for a while. Then he began to break the formation. About 10 minutes later, the stone door creaked and opened by itself. Behind the stone door was a slanted passage. At the end of the passage, there was another stone door. It was also covered by a formation. The formation of each stone door was different. The experts of the Heavenly Palace also needed special keys to open these doors. But against Dandan, these were useless. During the time in the Wanhua ruins, Dandan's understanding of formations had undoubtedly improved a lot. Soon, the stone door was opened by Dandan. Chapter 4756. Behind them, Lu Ming and the others passed through several checkpoints and finally reached the end. At the end was a huge stone chamber. It was very wide. When they arrived, Lu Ming and the others were stunned. Their mouths were agape and their eyes shone with a bright light. Treasures. They were all treasures. The first thing that came into view was a pile of metal materials that looked like a small mountain. There were hundreds of different kinds of metal materials. Each kind was piled up casually on the ground. Then, there were many shelves on both sides of the stone chamber. On the shelves, there were large boxes. It was obvious that the boxes were filled with treasures. There were also a large number of divine weapons on the shelves. They emitted powerful auras. Of course, the divine weapons placed casually were not of high grades. Most of them were Emperor-level divine weapons. There were also some Master-level divine weapons. But there were so many of them that they piled up like mountains. A treasure vault. A real treasure vault. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the others knew that they had found the right place. This was definitely the treasure vault of the illusory Heavenly Palace. It was where the treasures were hidden. Let's move them. Lu Ming shouted. With a wave of his hand, the mountain of metal materials in front of him disappeared. Lu Ming kept it in his chaos ring. Let's move. Immediately after, Dandan, Xian Yanqing, Wan Shun, and Guo took action. They took out their storage rings and began to frantically collect the metal materials. Most of these metal materials could only be used to refine Emperor-level divine weapons or Master-level divine weapons. There were none that could be used to refine Source-level divine weapons. But there were so many of them. With so many materials, it was unknown how many kilograms there were. Their value was immeasurable. Soon, the hundreds of piles of metal materials were emptied. Then, everyone looked at the large boxes on the shelves. Lu Ming walked directly to the nearest shelf and opened the box. He discovered that there were jade bottles inside, arranged neatly. There were a total of 12. Lu Ming took out a jade bottle and opened the cap. Immediately, an extremely rich medicinal fragrance filled the air. Immediately, the entire stone chamber was filled with the rich medicinal fragrance. Inside were divine pills. Lu Ming poured it out and took a look. There were 12 emerald green divine pills inside. This is a master-grade divine pill. It's made from master-grade divine herbs. It can increase the cultivation of divine masters. Xian Yanqing recognized this divine pill at a glance. It could increase the cultivation of a divine master. This kind of divine pill could be said to be priceless, and if it were to spread, divine master realm existences would fight over it. In the past, there weren't any main-level treasures in the universe. If almighty realm cultivators wanted to increase their cultivation, they could only go to the ruins of the universe to find primeval gems or main-level divine herbs. However, in the past, the laws and profundities in the ruins of the universe were in chaos. Thus, there were very few main-grade elixirs. Therefore, the number of these main-grade elixirs was naturally very small. The energy of this divine pill is very strong. One of them is equivalent to over 1,000 great desolation crystals. Lu Ming carefully sized up the divine pill and judged its efficacy. This box is also filled with sovereign-grade divine pills. Dandan called out. He had been impatient for a long time and opened the second box. The second box also contains sovereign-grade divine pills. Like Lu Ming, it was also used to increase one's cultivation. Following that, Xian Yanqing, Wan Shun, and Guimo opened the other boxes one after another. They discovered that most of them were sovereign-grade divine pills. Most of them were used to increase one's cultivation. There were also some that had other uses, such as energy recovery pills, detoxification pills, support-type divine pills, and so on. Divine pills that increase cultivation are useless to me. You guys can divide them among yourselves. Xian Yanqing said. Xian Yanqing's cultivation had already reached the 9th level of the Divine Master Realm. Her universe bridge was connected to the cosmic sea. Her next cultivation would be to convert and strengthen her origin source energy. She no longer needed sovereign-grade divine pills or primeval gems to increase her cultivation. I don't need cultivation-enhancing divine pills either. The three of you can divide them among yourselves. Gumo said. Lu Ming, Dandan, and Wan Shun did not stand on ceremony. Each of them took a box of cultivation-enhancing divine pills and divided them equally. As for the other divine pills, they gave more to Xian Yanqing and Guimo. In the end, they divided the 100 boxes of divine pills equally. There were also sovereign-grade divine weapons and emperor-grade divine weapons that were divided among them. The highest grade is sovereign grade. There are no source-grade treasures. Dandan muttered, somewhat displeased. There aren't enough source-grade treasures for all the origin realm cultivators in the Heavenly Palace. It's normal that there aren't any. Lu Ming smiled. However, he was also somewhat disappointed. Sovereign-grade treasures were not particularly useful to them. Among the treasures that he had obtained previously, the ones that were most useful to him were those that could increase his cultivation level. There's another stone door here. After they emptied the stone room, they discovered another door in the deepest part of the stone room. It was enveloped by layers of runic arrays. Lu Ming and the others rejoiced. Could there be more than one treasury? Was there an even more important treasury? Could there be even more precious treasures inside? Leave it to me. Dandan couldn't wait to go up and study it. This time, the formation was clearly much more complicated. Even Dandan had to spend several hours to understand and decipher the formation. They opened the stone door and walked in. As expected, there was another stone room, but it was much smaller than the previous one. The first thing that caught their eyes was a storage ring. This storage ring hovered in the air, enveloped by a barrier of light. Lu Ming extended his hand to grab it, his palm covered in forbidden energy. Without any obstruction, Lu Ming grabbed the storage ring in his hands. With a sweep of his spiritual sense, he saw the contents of the storage ring clearly. Desolate crystals. It was a large pile of desolate crystals, piled up into a mountain. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. The number of desolate crystals in this pile was absolutely astonishing. Lu Ming estimated that it was definitely more than 7 or 800 million. This was because the 200 million desolate crystals that Fei Huang had given Lu Ming previously could not compare to the size of this pile of desolate crystals. Lu Ming, what is this? Seeing the light in Lu Ming's eyes, Dandan asked curiously. Desolate crystals. And there are a lot of them. Lu Ming said, and then showed the storage ring to Dandan. After Dandan saw it, his eyes also lit up. Then, Xian Yanqing and the others also looked at it. I estimate that there are about 1 billion desolate crystals in this pile. Gumo said, 1 billion. Lu Ming and the others were excited. Although 1 billion desolate crystals was considered a small amount for a heavenly palace, it was still a dream. One had to know that this was the dreamy heavenly palace's treasury. 1 billion desolate crystals was really nothing. However, Lu Ming and the others were already very satisfied. One had to know that desolate crystals were completely consumables, and they were consumed very quickly. 1 billion desolate crystals were divided among the divine lords of the heavenly palace. Each person would not get much, and they would quickly be refined. It was already very good that there were still about 1 billion desolate crystals in the heavenly palace. They were probably used to reward their subordinates. Chapter 4757. Let's split these desolation crystals. Lu Ming looked at Dandan and Wanxin. The desolation crystals were useless to Xian Yanqing and Guemo. He would let them take more of the other treasures later. Lu Ming, how many desolation crystals do you need to break through? Guemo asked. About 500 million desolation crystals to break through from the 7th layer to the 8th layer. Lu Ming said. After breaking through to the 7th layer, Lu Ming had refined over 100 million desolation crystals. Therefore, he estimated that 500 million would be enough. How about this? Let's see what other treasures there are and divide them together. Wanxin suggested. The others naturally had no objections. Everyone continued to look. In addition to the storage ring floating in the air, there were more than 10 large boxes floating in the air. They opened the dozen or so large chests one by one. Then, everyone's breathing became heavy. Precious treasures, truly precious treasures. Among them, there were 9 large chests, each of which contained a divine weapon. Source-grade divine weapons. All 9 boxes contained source-grade divine weapons. There were 7 of them in total. I thought there wouldn't be any source-grade divine weapons. I didn't expect there to be 7 of them. Dandan grinned. His eyes shone brightly. He wanted to swallow the 9 source-grade divine weapons in one gulp. Dandan's meaning was simple. Source-grade divine weapons were a strategic resource that the Heavenly Palace lacked. Half of the origins in the Heavenly Palace didn't have any source-grade divine weapons. Source-grade divine weapons were far from enough. It was normal that the treasury didn't have any. These should be the backup source-grade divine weapons of the Heavenly Palace. They are used to reward their subordinates. Xian Yanqing said. The operation of a large organization required some methods. They needed to be clear about rewards and punishments. For example, if an Origin Realm expert performed a great service for the Heavenly Palace and was rewarded with a source-grade divine weapon, it would cause a stir. It would stimulate the other Origin Realm experts and make them work harder for the Heavenly Palace. These 7 source-grade divine weapons were obviously used for this purpose. The 1 billion or so primordial crystals from before were clearly used for this purpose. In addition to the 7 source-level divine weapons, they also found some divine pills. They were source-level divine pills made from source-level divine herbs and contained origin marks. The value of the pill was simply astonishing. It was extremely useful to reciprocity experts, allowing them to break through and break through. I'm rich, I'm really rich, ha! Dandan laughed. These pills were extremely useful for peak godlords to break through to reciprocity. They would need them sooner or later. Unfortunately, there weren't many of those divine pills. In fact, they could be said to be extremely rare. This was normal. Source-grade divine herbs that could be used to refine source-grade divine pills were too rare. Especially in the past, it was hard to find even in the ruins of the universe. Now that the universe was changing, there might be more of them in the future. Apart from these, there were also some other treasures. They were all very special treasures, such as some one-time offensive treasures or one-time life-saving treasures. These treasures were often of great use at critical moments. In short, the treasures in this treasury were all top-tier treasures. They were extremely valuable. However, there were no materials to refine source-level divine weapons, nor were there any other high-grade divine herbs. Presumably, the Heavenly Palace would refine these materials once they obtained them. Afterward, they began to discuss how to distribute them. Lu Ming's battle prowess is the strongest among those of the same level. Every time he increases his cultivation, his battle prowess increases the most as well. Therefore, I suggest that we give the primordial crystals to Lu Ming. What do you think? Wan Shun was the first to speak. Xian Yanqing and Gu Mo naturally had no objections, especially Xian Yanqing. Even if she could use them, she would give them to Lu Ming without any hesitation. Only Dandan was reluctant. His eyes darted around. His cultivation was the lowest among them, only at the 5th layer of the godly master realm. He also wanted the primordial crystals very much. I only need 500 million primordial crystals at most to break through to the 8th layer of the godly master realm. I don't need any more. How about this? I'll take 500 million primordial crystals. You can take more of the other treasures. Lu Ming said. 500 million was enough for him. Even if he took 1 billion, it would be useless. To break through from the 8th layer of the godly master realm to the 9th layer of the godly master realm, he would need at least 5 billion primordial crystals. This was an astronomical number. Finally, they came to an agreement. Lu Ming would take 500 million primordial crystals, while Dandan and Myriad God would split the other 500 million equally. As for the source-level divine weapons, Lu Ming did not take them. Myriad God took 1 each. Dandan, Xian Yanqing, and Gu Mo each took 2. It was all thanks to Dandan that they were able to find the Heavenly Palace's treasury. It was only right that Dandan took 1 more. For this, Dandan grinned from ear to ear. As for the source-level divine pills, they would split them equally. As for the other special treasures, they would split them equally according to their needs. They had reaped great rewards on this trip. It could be said that everyone was happy. Awesome. This is too awesome. Moving into the Heavenly Palace's treasury is still the most comfortable. Dandan laughed heartily. It could be said that this trip had made them rich all of a sudden. There were many treasures whose value was difficult to measure. For example, the source-level divine weapons, source-level divine pills, and special treasures. Let's go. It won't be long before the 10 days are up. Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded and headed outside, leaving the treasury. There was still some time left, but no one wanted to wander around any longer. After their trip to the treasury, they were no longer interested in the other items in the Heavenly Palace. They found a place and slowly waited. Lu Ming made use of the time to refine the primordial crystals. He could imagine that there would be endless battles ahead. The stronger they were, the better. Wan Shen and Dandan also made use of the time to refine the primordial crystals. Xian Yanqing, on the other hand, was comprehending the origin energy and strengthening it. Only Gu Mo was idling. His cultivation had reached its limit. The next step was to reach the origin realm. However, he was facing an origin tribulation now. He could no longer improve. If he wanted to break through to the origin realm, he could only wait until the origin tribulation was over. Otherwise, his origin route would be sucked away as soon as he broke through. He had already reached the peak and could no longer improve in any aspect. Soon the 10 days were up. Lu Ming and the others left the illusory Heavenly Palace and returned to the demon fortress of In Ruins. The other demons also came out one after another. After some time, all the demons that had entered the illusory Heavenly Palace came out and returned to the demon fortress of In Ruins. Lu Ming, did you find anything? Did you find the treasury of the illusory Heavenly Palace? Zi Xian walked over and asked tentatively. Did you find it? Lu Ming asked. They naturally wouldn't admit that they had found the treasury. I've already asked the others, but they didn't find it. It seems that the treasury of the Heavenly Palace is hidden too deeply. What a pity! Zi Xian sighed. Chapter 4758. Zi Xian and the others were frustrated that they couldn't find the treasure vault of the dreamy Heavenly Palace after so many days of searching. If it weren't for the lack of time, they would have continued to search. However, they had to leave. So many days had passed and the Heavenly Palace must have received the news. They would have sent their elites to hunt them down. If they didn't leave quickly, they would be surrounded by the elites of the Heavenly Palace. In fact, the Yi Immortal and the others had received the news a few days after they entered the dreamy Heavenly Palace. Most of the overlords of the Heavenly Palace were attacking the Heaven Destroyer's base. When they heard the news, they were immediately enraged. What? All the criminals in the Heavenly Prison have escaped? What happened? More than 900 divine masters have fled, and they're attacking my heavenly palace's strategic locations everywhere. What happened in the heavenly prison? Many Lord of Heaven shouted. Even a character like Yi Wuxian had a dark expression on his face. My lords, I heard that someone broke into the heavenly prison and released the criminals. A brawny heavenly human who came to deliver the news said, "Who broke into the heavenly prison? They deserve to die." A Lord of Heaven shouted. According to the images from the surveillance array in the heavenly prison, it's these people. The brawny heavenly human took out a jade talisman and activated it. A few people immediately appeared. It's Lu Ming. It's that bastard Lu Ming. Damn it. No, there's also a demon. There was an uproar. Naturally, there were many surveillance arrays in the heavenly prison. It was difficult for Lu Ming to avoid all the surveillance arrays. Why is Lu Ming, that little bastard, hanging out with the demons? Someone wondered. Oh no. Did Lu Ming go to the dark universe and work with the demons? Someone's expression changed as he guessed. Work with the demons? How is that possible? The demons are being attacked by the ancestral fiend bugs and will soon become our puppets. How could Lu Ming work with the demons? Did the demons leave the dark universe? The heavenly human elites at the scene were in a heated discussion. Report. Right at this moment, another heavenly human tribe member flew over rapidly. This time, it was a heavenly human tribe elder. His face was filled with fear, and he looked like he had lost his head out of fear. What's the matter? A Lord of Heaven asked. My lords, I've just received news that the dreamy heavenly palace has been breached. The heavenly human's voice trembling. What? Boom! Terrifying auras erupted one after another. Countless experts of the heavenly human tribe erupted with boundless fury. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent and disbelief. The dreamy heavenly palace had been breached? Who did it? In the Eldritch universe, the Heaven Destroyer was besieged and the demons were being attacked by the ancestral fiend bugs. Their heavenly palace had no opponents. Who else could breach the dreamy heavenly palace? Could it be the quasi-immortal tribe? Who did it? The Immortal asked coldly. Everyone could hear the murderous intent in his voice. It's Lu Ming and the demons. A large number of demons. The heavenly human's voice trembled. It's Lu Ming again. And the demons? Where did they come from? Many heaven monarchs roared angrily. It's true. My lords, please take a look. The heavenly human's elder took out a jade talisman and activated it. Immediately, an image appeared. It was the scene of Lu Ming and thousands of demons attacking the dreamy heavenly palace's array. The heavenly human race's members were stunned. It took them a while to react. It's the silver-winged demons and the purple-eyed demons of the 4 royal demon races. Why are they in the Eldritch universe? They're also being attacked by the ancestral fiend bugs. They can't hold on for long with the ancestral fiend blood crystal powder. They don't dare to leave the dark universe. How can they attack the dreamy heavenly palace? Many Lord of Heaven roared. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Quiet down. Suddenly, the Immortal's voice sounded. Everyone quieted down. It's useless to complain now. It seems that the ancestral fiend bugs of the purple-eyed demons and the silver-winged demons have been suppressed or eliminated. That's why they can leave the dark universe. Ye Immortal said. The ancestral fiend bugs have been eliminated? How is that possible? Many heavenly human races members still couldn't believe it. No matter how unbelievable it is, it's the truth. We have to make the same assumption. Ye Immortal said. Ancestral Patriarch, what should we do now? What else can we do? Ancestral Patriarch, I suggest that we send out the elites immediately to annihilate those demons and Lu Ming. That's right. We can't ignore the people who escaped from the heavenly prison. We have to send someone to kill them. Some of the heavenly lords said at the same time. It seems that Lu Ming wants to use this method to reduce the pressure on the Heaven Destroyer base and disperse our forces. Lu Ming, I've underestimated you. Ye Immortal whispered. His voice was extremely cold and his killing intent was as sharp as a knife. However, he couldn't ignore Lu Ming. The people who escaped from the heavenly prison were wreaking havoc everywhere. They attacked the heavenly palace and killed the heavenly human race. They couldn't ignore it. Besides, Lu Ming and those demons had attacked the dreamy heavenly palace. They couldn't ignore it either. Even if they knew Lu Ming's goal, they still had to send someone to deal with him. Ancestral Patriarch, I suggest that we immediately send out the army to annihilate Lu Ming and those demons. A Lord of Heaven suggested. How many people should we send out? We don't know how many demon masters there are. Another Lord of Heaven said. The Silver Wing race and the Purple Eye race can mobilize about 5,000 demon masters. We have to prepare for all of them to move out. Therefore, I've decided to send 5,000 divine masters to the dreamy heavenly palace first. Don't fight with them first. Let's test their strength first. If they really have 5,000 divine masters, we'll send back the news and come up with other countermeasures. Also, send 2,000 divine masters to kill those who escaped from the heavenly prison. The rest of you, continue to attack the Heaven Destroyer base. No matter what, the human king's body is the most important. Ye Immortal started to give out orders. Yes. The others obeyed. Not long after, 2,000 divine masters set off to kill the experts who escaped from the heavenly prison. 5,000 divine masters went to the dreamy heavenly palace. In this way, the number of experts besieging the Heaven Destroyer base was reduced by 7,000. Originally, the heavenly palace had mobilized about 16,000 divine masters. Together with 7,000 divine masters, there were 23,000 divine masters in total. Now that 7,000 were gone, there were only 16,000 divine masters left. This eased the pressure on the Heaven Destroyer a little. It could hold on for a little longer. How did the demons suppress or get rid of the demon ancestor bugs? Could it be the demon ancestor blood crystal? Ye Immortal's eyes lit up. Chapter 4759. Ye Immortal immediately thought of the demon ancestor blood crystal. He knew that the only thing that could restrain the demon ancestor bug was the demon ancestor blood crystal. Moreover, he was the one who planned to use the demon ancestor blood crystal to lure the evil demons into the dark universe and trap them there forever. However, he also knew that the demon ancestor blood crystal had a barrier set up by the human sovereign. The evil demons could not get close to it. How did they get the demon ancestor blood crystal? He naturally thought of Lu Ming and the group. However, his understanding of the human king's barrier was far more than that of the demons. The Ye Immortal had obtained the demon ancestor blood crystal by accident. When he got the demon ancestor blood crystal, there was an introduction to the demon ancestor blood crystal that mentioned the human sovereign barrier. Although the human sovereign barrier was mainly used against the evil demons, it also had a strong restraining effect on the servants of the human race. Not only that, but any living thing, including the human race, could not pass through the barrier. It would create a strong pressure. Only a transcender could pass through the barrier and get the demon ancestor blood crystal. However, were there any transcenders in the current primitive universe? Obviously not. Even if Lu Ming has a forbidden body, it is impossible for him to pass through the human sovereign barrier and get the demon ancestor blood crystal. However, without the demon ancestor blood crystal, how did the evil demons suppress or get rid of the demon ancestor bug in their bodies? Ye Immortal fell into deep thought. He did not think that Lu Ming and the others could get the demon ancestor blood crystal. It was almost impossible. No matter how talented Lu Ming was, it was impossible for him to pass through the human sovereign barrier. He denied this thought, but it only made him even more puzzled. I should send someone to investigate. Ye Immortal muttered. Then he sent someone to the dark universe to check if the human sovereign barrier was still there. The person he sent out soon received a reply. The human sovereign barrier was still there. It was safe and sound. As for the demon ancestor blood crystal, it was hidden in the box. They could not pass through the barrier. Naturally, they could not see if the demon ancestor blood crystal had been taken away. This made Ye Immortal even more puzzled. After Lu Ming's group left the illusory fantasy heavenly palace, they boarded the Yin Ruins Devil Castle, intending to leave. The demon castle of Yin Ruins broke through the void and entered the dark space. However, not too long later, the ground began to tremble violently. Enemy attack, enemy attack. An evil demon's howl startled everyone. The people from the heavenly palace came so quickly. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Obviously, they had been attacked by the cultivators of the Heavenly Palace. Lu Ming, Zixian, Yin Kong, and the others were gathered in a large hall. There was a huge bronze mirror in the hall that could reflect the scene outside. Outside the demon fortress of Yin ruins, the void shattered as a violent aura swept out in all directions. In front of the demon castle of Yin ruins, a large number of figures stood in the void. All of them were mighty ones from the Heavenly Palace, and all of them were divine masters. There were a total of 5,000 people. It really is the heavenly human tribe. Now that the laws and profound meanings in the universe ruins have stabilized, it seems that the people from the Heavenly Palace have found a way to set up a wormhole. Lu Ming pondered. In the past, there was no way to open a wormhole in the universe ruins because the laws and profound meanings were chaotic. But now, the situation had changed. For example, when they fought for the human king's body in the Halo world of the thousand-year battlefield, the space-time spirit rats opened a wormhole there. The cultivators from the Heaven Destroyer relied on the wormhole to return to the Heaven Destroyer's base. Now, the divine masters from the Heavenly Palace could arrive here in just a few days without a wormhole. Heavenly human tribe, very good. Let's go out and fight them. Kill all of them. Kill all of these bastards. Many evil demons roared. The evil demons and the heavenly human tribe had been enemies for generations. Coupled with the incident with the demon ancestor worm, the evil demons' hatred for the heavenly human tribe deepened. Most of the evil demons hated the heavenly human tribe to the core. Now that they saw the heavenly human tribe, many of them wanted to rush out and fight them. Wait a minute, we don't know how many powerful beings the heavenly human tribe has sent out. Maybe there's an ambush in the dark. Let's retreat for a while and test their strength first. Zixian said. Zixian is right. Let's test how many people the heavenly human tribe has sent and see if there's an ambush. Yin Kong said. The evil demons didn't rush out to fight the heavenly human tribe. Instead, they controlled the demon castle of Yin ruins to retreat. Don't let the evil demons get away. Chase them. Kill all the evil demons. Many powerful beings from the Heavenly Palace yelled and rushed toward the demon castle of Yin ruins. All kinds of attacks were thrown at the demon castle of Yin ruins. However, the demon castle of Yin ruins was very strong with the help of many evil demons. It wouldn't be easy for the Heavenly Palace to break through the demon castle of Yin ruins. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had crossed a long distance. After such a long distance, they didn't find any other ambush from the Heavenly Palace. From the beginning to the end, there were only 5,000 people. Obviously, the heavenly human tribe didn't have any powerful beings lying in ambush. At this time, Zixian, Yin Kong, and the others planned to rush out and fight the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming, if you don't stop them and go out to fight the heavenly human tribe, the evil demons won't have enough experts. If they lose their strength, the Heavenly Palace will be weakened. Bone Demon sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. No, I want them to kill each other. Lu Ming responded via voice transmission. Could it be that you already have a plan? The soul fire in Bone Demon's eye sockets flickered. He knew Lu Ming very well. If Lu Ming said so, he must have a plan. Yes, but I don't know if it will work. Then, Lu Ming told Bone Demon, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the Wanshan his plan. The eyes of the four people lit up. Don't worry, your plan can only succeed. I guarantee that there will be no problems. Dandan laughed, feeling very pleased with herself, because Dandan would play a crucial role in Lu Ming's plan. That's good. Let's hope it works. Once it works, the situation will be completely reversed. Lu Ming whispered. Then he said, let's go. We'll follow the evil demons and kill as many heavenly human tribe members as possible. Let's go and kill to our heart's content. I can't hold it in anymore. The Wanshan grinned. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Then they followed the evil demons and killed their way out. Kill! Kill all the heavenly human bastards. About 5,000 evil demons and demon lords roared. Demonic chi surged into the sky as they charged out of the demon fortress of Yin ruins and toward the heavenly human tribe members. There were 5,000 divine lords on each side. The terrifying attacks collided, and the void in this area was chaotic. Terrifying waves of energy swept out in all directions. The entire galaxy outside the void was instantly destroyed. Countless stars exploded and stars were extinguished. Terrifying cracks were torn open in the boundless void. Countless living beings died in the battle between the two sides. This was the terror of the Divine Lord Army. If it happened in the universe, it would destroy heaven and earth. Chapter 4760. After a few rounds of long-range collisions, the experts from both sides began to fight each other. Swish! A golden spear of light pointed at Lu Ming's forehead. This was a 9th-level God Lord Heavenly Human. His eyes were cold as he unleashed his strongest attack, wanting to kill Lu Ming in one blow. Seeking death. Lu Ming's eyes chilled as he thrust out his war god spear. However, Lu Ming's spear gleam was faster and more powerful than the other party's spear gleam. Plush! Lu Ming pierced through his opponent's forehead, killing him on the spot. With Lu Ming's current fighting strength, killing a 9th-level godlord was far too easy. Ordinary peak godlords were no match for Lu Ming. Only a top-class peak godlord could suppress Lu Ming. For example, the silver-armored Lord of Heaven he had encountered in the boundless fiend abyss. Kill! After killing the other party, the war god's spear swept out and killed another 8th-tier Divine Master Heavenly Human tribe member. The others were also engaged in battle. Bone Devil and Dandan had both encountered their opponents and were locked in battle. As for Xian Yanqing and Bone Devil, they were unstoppable. After killing several experts in a row, they naturally caught the attention of the other experts. Several peak godlord experts charged at Xian Yanqing and Bone Devil. Leave it to me! Bone Devil roared as he transformed into a bolt of black lightning. His palm was like a demonic saber as he charged forward. Plush! Plush! The two peak godlord experts were unable to put up any resistance. Their master-level divine weapons were shattered, and their bodies were torn apart by Bone Devil's palm. The other peak godlord expert was so frightened that he immediately retreated. Leave this person to me. The rest of you go and deal with the others. A cold voice rang out as a burly figure charged towards Guillermo Clang. Bone Devil exchanged a blow with his opponent, and both of them were forced back. The 100-battle Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. The one who dealt with the Bone Demon just now was one of the 4 strongest Lords of Heaven in the Heavenly Palace, the Lord of Heaven of the 100 Battles. This time, the Heavenly Human tribe was led by the 2 most powerful Lord of Heaven. One was the Lord of Heaven of 100 Battles, while the other was the Lord of Heaven of Extinction. Just now, the Lord of Heaven of 100 Battles was nearby. When he saw how powerful Bone Devil was, he charged towards Bone Devil. So what if he's the strongest Lord of Heaven? I'll still kill him. The Bone Demon shouted and charged towards the other party, clashing with the Lord of Heaven. Xian Yanqing and the Lord of Heaven, who was thought to be powerful, began to fight. Lu Ming did not go too far. He stayed beside Wan Shen and Dandan and fought with the Heavenly Human tribe. After all, Wan Shen and Dandan's cultivation levels were lower. If they encountered a powerful opponent, they would be in danger. He stayed nearby so that he could look after them. The battle was very fierce, and there were experts dying at every moment. These were all almighty existences, the top figures in the universe. Any one of them was a high and mighty figure. One of them could make a tribe prosper and become the top tribe in the universe. On the surface, only the top 100 tribes in the universe had almighty. In reality, there were more than that. Some powerful tribes also had almighty secretly overseeing them. However, the number of tribes with almighty in the universe definitely did not exceed 300. Such a person was completely worthless at this moment. He was constantly being killed and dying. Retreat, retreat. Suddenly, a loud roar came from behind the Heavenly Palace. Immediately, the Heavenly Palace experts began to retreat in an orderly manner. They did not panic and retreated in an orderly manner. They continued to converge with each other, and their attacks became mainly defensive. The number of demons and the Heavenly Palace were about the same. Their strength was also about the same. If the other party wanted to retreat, the demons could not stop them. After a while, All the Heavenly Palace experts gathered together. They defended and retreated at the same time. The demons chased for a while and could only give up. They were afraid of falling into a trap and being ambushed. In this battle, the evil demons had lost almost 200 demon masters. However, the Heavenly Palace did not fare any better. They had also suffered heavy losses. After a while, the Heavenly Palace people did not attack. The demons wanted to counterattack. They drove the demon fortress of In ruins and charged forward. The Heavenly Palace people retreated to avoid the demons. Humph, these heavenly human scum are really cowards. They don't dare to fight us. Some demons sneered. The Heavenly Palace people do not dare to fight us, but they are not retreating either. I feel that their goal is to delay us. I estimate that their reinforcements will be here soon. Lu Ming said. Brother Lu, you are right. What should we do next? Zixin asked. After spending some time together, she knew that Lu Ming was very resourceful. If she had any questions, she would ask Lu Ming first. If we continue to stay here, we may be surrounded by the Heavenly Palace. This is not good for us. I suggest that we leave here and attack some important places in the Heavenly Palace, or even other heavenly palaces, Lu Ming said. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Zixin and Yin Kong nodded. Then the demon fortress of In ruins was activated and left the place. The demons left. Damn it. Chase them. We can't let them leave our sight. When our reinforcements arrive, they will die. The heavenly human experts ordered. 4,000 to 5,000 almighty experts chased after the demon fortress of In ruins. The demons drove the demon fortress of In ruins. Soon, they appeared outside a huge planet. This planet was a resource planet of the Heavenly Palace. It was more important and there used to be many experts guarding it. Even now, although there were no more divine masters, there were still many divine emperors. Boom! After the In ruins demon fortress appeared, it directly charged towards the planet. Many Demon Lord Realm demons rushed out and bombarded the planet with attacks. Boom! 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 The planet exploded and lava shot into the sky. The experts of the Heavenly Palace who were guarding this place were instantly reduced to ashes. In less than a minute, the resource planet was destroyed. The space in the distance cracked. The almighty experts of the Heavenly Palace also arrived. Seeing this scene, they were furious. Their eyes turned red and they rushed toward the resource planet. However, the demons who attacked had already returned to the demon fortress of In ruins. The demon fortress of In ruins was activated and left, rushing toward the next important place in the Heavenly Palace. In the next few days, the demons drove the demon fortress of In ruins and destroyed 7 important places in the Heavenly Palace. Then, the demon fortress of In ruins rushed in one direction. Oh no, they want to go to the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace. We can't let them succeed. Spread the news. Tell the reinforcements to defend the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace. Attack from the front and back. The experts of the Heavenly Palace shouted. Lu Ming and the others did want to rush to the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace. This place was not far from the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace. However, when they approached the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace, they realized that something was wrong. Thousands of almighty experts gathered in front of the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace. Obviously, the reinforcements of the Heavenly Palace had arrived. Chapter 4761. In front of the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace, there were at least 3,000 almighty from the Heavenly Palace. The demons were naturally not afraid of 3,000 almighty, but they had the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace behind them. They could enter the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace at any time and make use of the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace's array. Therefore, it would not be easy to deal with them. Another problem was that the 4,700 almighty were hot on their heels and would form a pincer attack. Therefore, when they saw this situation, the demons suppressed the urge to go out and fight with the Heavenly Palace's almighty. Instead, they controlled the demon castle of In ruins and charged in another direction. Kill them, don't let them escape. Stop them. The Heavenly Palace's almighty behind them immediately charged toward the demon castle of In ruins. The 3,000 almighty from the Crepe Myrtle Heavenly Palace also charged toward the demon castle of In ruins. The two heavenly palaces' almighty armies added up to almost 8,000 almighty. Their strength was far above the demons. The demons were not stupid enough to stop and fight with the enemy. They kept flying forward. If they saw a planet occupied by the heavenly palace, they would attack. Let's split up and chase them. Otherwise, those demons won't stop. The Lord of Heaven of 100 Battles suggested. That's right. One group will chase them while the other group will go around and surround them. Another powerful Lord of Heaven nodded. Immediately, the two groups of Almighty split up. One group of 3,000 went around in another direction, intending to surround the demons. The other group continued to chase them. With the demons' belligerent nature and their hatred for the heavenly human tribe, they would attack as long as they saw that the other party was not attacking them. Indeed, not long after, another battle broke out. Both sides lost more than 100 almighty. In the end, another group of heavenly palaces almighty chased after them, and the demons escaped into the demon castle of En ruins again. The heavenly palaces' men continued to chase after them. Just like that, a few months went by. During this time, several battles broke out above. Both sides suffered great losses, but the heavenly palace's army could not surround the demons. However, in the past few months, the universe had been thrown into chaos. The source was naturally the experts who had escaped from the imperial prison. This was especially the case for the 918 Divine Master Realm powerhouses. They were filled with hatred for the heavenly palace, and they carried out crazy revenge. The various bases of the heavenly palace in the universe, resource planets, cultivation holy lands, and even important places like the Dream Sky City of Heavenly Palace were attacked. This caused the Heavenly Palace to suffer heavy losses. A large number of godly emperors and those below the godly emperor level were killed, causing a huge commotion in the universe. Not long after, the Heavenly Palace sent out experts to hunt down the escapees. From time to time, great battles between divine masters would break out in various parts of the universe. The starry sky would tremble, and planets would be destroyed. Every race was on tenterhooks. This was especially true for creatures with lower cultivation levels. They were even more terrified because the shockwaves caused by the battle between the divine masters were too great. They could easily destroy planets and annihilate creatures. It was unknown how many creatures had been swept into this series of battles. But not long after, an even more explosive news spread through the universe, causing a huge commotion. One of the top 10 races, the Battle Saint tribe, released news that the celestial race was despicable and shameless. For the sake of treasures, they casually acted against the Battle Saint tribe, killing their members. In addition, they even imprisoned the genius of the Battle Saint tribe, Battle God Wuxia, for several years in the imperial prison, torturing him. Hence, the Battle Saint tribe decided to withdraw from the heavenly palace. Before this news was released, those Battle Saint tribe members who had participated in the attack on the Heaven Destroyer base had already silently retreated. After that, the experts of the Battle Saint tribe all entered their mother planet. The entire Battle Saint mother planet moved towards the ruins of the universe. The entire Battle Saint tribe left the starry space and moved to the ruins of the universe. And just a day after the Battle Saint tribe released the news, the Buddha race, Devil race, and Spirit race also released news. Because the Heavenly Palace casually imprisoned their people and even secretly killed them, they decided to leave the Heavenly Palace. Also, like the Battle Saint tribe, they brought their mother planets and entered the ruins of the universe. The moment this news was released, the universe was in an uproar. Out of the top 10 races, 4 of them left the Heavenly Palace and entered the ruins of the universe. This was an unprecedented matter. In this case, including the Quasi-Saint tribe, only 5 of the top 10 races still obeyed the orders of the celestial race. At the same time, the various races felt a chill in their hearts. The celestial race actually did such a thing to the various races in the dark. To think that the various races were still working for the celestial race. Could it be that in the eyes of the celestial race, the various races in the universe were really ants that could be taken away as they wished? Many powerful races had different thoughts. They wanted to learn from the 4 races and enter the ruins of the universe to develop. Now that the universe had undergone such a huge change, the ruins of the universe were no longer deathly silent. The laws and profundities were no longer in chaos. On the contrary, it had become a cultivation holy land that was many times better than the starry space of the past. Now, if they could occupy a place and obtain an opportunity, they might be able to rise up in the future. Outside the Heaven Destroyer base, a towering wave of anger enveloped it. Damn it, lowly ants, they actually dared to betray us. They are simply courting their own deaths. Many Lord of Heaven of the celestial race roared angrily. The Battle Saint tribe, Buddhist race, Devil race, and Spirit race only dare to be so arrogant because they think that we are too busy to deal with them. I suggest that we immediately send out an army to annihilate these 4 races. A relatively strong and calm Lord of Heaven said. I also suggest that. Otherwise, these ants will think that the celestial race is easy to bully. Yi Qiuxin also said coldly. In the end, everyone's gaze turned to the Yi Immortal. The final decision was still made by the Yi Immortal. The Yi Immortal frowned slightly. If they sent out experts to kill the 4 races, the military strength of the Heaven Destroyer base would be reduced again. They had already sent out 10,000 divine masters. If they wanted to deal with the 4 races, they would need to send out at least 2,000 divine masters. The 4 races had been operating for many years. Moreover, they were on their respective mother planets with layers of formations. It wouldn't be that easy to break through. They would need to send out several times more combat power. It was the same when they broke through the dragon race's mother planet. If they sent out another few thousand divine masters, the military strength of the Heaven Destroyer base would be even weaker. There would only be about 10,000 divine masters left, and it would drag on for even longer. The Yi Immortal didn't want to see the situation change if they delayed. How long had it been since they attacked the Heaven Destroyer base? So many unforeseen events had already occurred. Who knew what would happen if they continued to drag on? The most important thing was to obtain the body of the human king. As long as they defeated the Heaven Destroyer base, they could easily destroy the Battle Saint tribe and the other races. Report. At this moment, someone came to report with an ugly expression. What's the matter? The Yi Immortal asked. Old ancestor, something bad has happened. We just received news that a force has appeared in the depths of the universe ruins. It is occupying a large amount of land in the universe ruins. The messenger reported. Chapter 4762. As soon as the news came out, the scene was in an uproar. The heavenly human race's experts' anger had yet to subside, but now, it was undoubtedly adding fuel to the fire. A force? Which force is so bold? Don't they know that the ruins of the universe belong to our heavenly palace now? A Lord of Heaven shouted angrily. According to the news, it's the quasi-saint race. The messenger replied. What? Quasi-saint race? You damned ant, how dare you? Trying to fish in troubled waters again? Aren't they afraid of being annihilated? The heavenly human race's experts were stunned at first, then they shouted angrily. Only the Yi Immortal was calm as if he had already known about it. The quasi-saint race has indeed made their move. The Yi Immortal whispered. Old ancestor, let's do it. Send out the army and destroy the quasi-saint race in one fell swoop. At the same time, we'll deal with the Battle Saint tribe and the Buddhist race. Someone suggested. The Yi Immortal raised his hand, and everyone quieted down. Don't worry about these races for now. The human king's body is the key. Continue to focus on attacking the Heaven Destroyer's base. As long as we get the human king's body and find the human king's heart, we'll be able to sweep through the ages. These small races are nothing to worry about. The Yi Immortal ordered. Many heavenly human races experts hesitated. They were unwilling to do so because it was too shameful. If they didn't send people to suppress their betrayal, wouldn't they be laughed at? Wouldn't the other races be even more daring? This is an order. The Yi Immortal said coldly. Everyone had no choice but to accept the order. Also, pass down the order. Activate the 4 heavenly palaces and other important places and move them toward the ruins of the universe. In the future, the ruins of the universe will be our foundation. The starry sky of the universe is just a small place. The Yi Immortal continued to instruct. Everyone accepted the order and quickly started to spread the news. After a period of time, the heavenly palace started to move. The 4 heavenly palaces and important places like the illusion heavenly city began to move toward the ruins of the universe. When the news spread, the various races of the universe was even more shocked. Not long after, the news reached Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming revealed a smile. To him, this was undoubtedly good news. The withdrawal of the Battle Saint tribe, Buddha race, Devil ancestor and Spirit race would undoubtedly weaken the strength of the heavenly palace. Each of the top 10 clans had at least 100 divine masters, and some clans even had close to 200. Now that they had left, the number of divine masters in the heavenly palace had decreased significantly. As a result, the Heaven Destroyer base was able to hold on for a longer period of time. And the Quasi-Saint tribe's attack would also bring great pressure to the heavenly palace. The Quasi-Saint race naturally didn't make a move to support the Heaven Destroyer. It was only for their own benefits. Now, the ruins of the universe were about to become a holy land for cultivation. All sorts of divine medicines and all sorts of heavenly treasures were being nurtured. It was about to become a holy land for cultivation. It would be a place that all the major powers would fight for in the future. Only by occupying the ruins of the universe would they be able to borrow the vast amount of resources here in the future to continuously produce experts and rise rapidly. The Quasi-Saint race must have also seen this point and thus made a move. However, it was also a good thing for the Heaven Destroyer. The more chaotic the universe was, the better. The more chaotic it was, the more chances the Heaven Destroyer would have. If no other powers intervened, the Heavenly Palace could attack the Heaven Destroyer with peace of mind. The destruction of the Heaven Destroyer was only a matter of time. The demon castle of Een ruins continued to fight with the Heavenly Palace's army. In the depths of the ruins of the universe, there was a huge group of continental fragments. There were a total of 50 continental fragments in this area. Among them, 49 continental fragments surrounded the largest continental fragment in the middle. These continental fragments were covered with arrays. When the arrays were activated, the surroundings became misty and this group of continental fragments was hidden in the void, making it difficult to discover. This was the base of the Quasi-Saint tribe, the headquarters of the Quasi-Saint tribe. The Quasi-Saint tribe had always been hiding in the ruins of the universe. Moreover, the continental fragment they occupied wasn't dead and was full of vitality. Moreover, the surrounding arrays had been modified by the ancestors of the Quasi-Saint tribe and were isolated from the outside world. Even in the past, the laws and profundities weren't chaotic. For countless years, the Quasi-Saint tribe had been flourishing here. They rarely appeared in the starry sky of the universe. Therefore, their numbers were extremely small and they were extremely mysterious. At this moment, in the largest continental fragment in the middle, a large hall was filled with people. These were the experts of the Quasi-Saint tribe. Most of them were peak almighty existences. Tongqiong, the peerless genius of the Quasi-Saint tribe, sat high on the main seat and looked down at the experts. In the era of the Origin Tribulation, the Origin Realm experts had all sealed themselves. Almighty was the peak. As the most talented person of the Quasi-Saint tribe and the son of the patriarch, Tongqiong naturally became the temporary leader of the Quasi-Saint tribe. Young master, now that we have occupied 20% of the explored area, do we still need to send troops? A peak almighty celestial tribe elder asked Tongqiong. The ruins of the universe were vast and boundless. It was much larger than the starry sky of the universe. Even after countless years, only 1/3 of the explored area had been explored. 20% of the explored area was an unimaginably large territory. It was much larger than the starry sky of the universe and there were countless continental fragments. It was enough for the Quasi-Saint tribe to reproduce. No, it's not enough. Continue to send troops and occupy more territory. Tongqiong said. Young master, if we continue, I'm afraid the celestial tribe will counterattack. Another peak almighty from the Quasi-Saint tribe said with a worried expression. Don't be afraid. In the eyes of the celestial tribe, the human king's physical body is the most important. They will definitely concentrate their forces to attack the Heaven Destroyer Station. They won't be in the mood to attack us. Also, if we want to revive the supreme existence of our tribe, we need more resources. Therefore, we must occupy more territory and obtain more resources. When the supreme expert of our tribe is revived, the celestial tribe can be easily exterminated. Song Qiong said with determination and confidence. Of course, we don't need to overdo it. Just occupy 50% of the explored area. Song Qiong continued to instruct. Yes. The Quasi-Saint tribe experts received the order and continued to send troops to occupy more territory. This made the celestial tribe experts even angrier. Insatiable greed. The Quasi-Saint tribe is really insatiable. They should be exterminated. They should be killed. When the traitors are exterminated, the Quasi-Saint tribe will be exterminated. Many celestial tribe experts roared. However, Lu Ming and the demons of the Purple Eye and Silver Wing races gave them more headaches. During this period of time, the Heavenly Palace had lost about 500 almighties because of the encirclement of Lu Ming and the others. This made them feel heartache. These were 500 almighties, not divine emperors. Nurturing one almighty required a lot of resources. Although the demons' losses were not small, could the demons' lives be compared to the celestial tribes? Chapter 4763. In the eyes of the heavenly human race, no matter how many demons died, they couldn't compare to them. However, Lu Ming and this group of demons would continue to harass and attack them if they didn't eliminate them. Even if the 4 Heavenly Palace experts moved to the ruins of the universe, it was useless. They would still attack them. Just the illusory Heavenly Palace being breached was already a disastrous loss. All the treasures inside, as long as they had a bit of value, were swept clean. The experts of the dreamy Heavenly Palace almost vomited blood. However, if they continued to fight, the losses would be too great. Were they going to exchange 5,000 divine masters for 5,000 demon masters? They couldn't bear to do that. How many divine masters did the heavenly human race have? Therefore, the heavenly human race experts all suggested to the Yi Immortal to withdraw the heavenly human race experts and let the demons fight. Use demons to deal with demons. The heavenly human race experts withdrew to attack the Heaven Destroyer base. They only needed a few heavenly human race experts to control the demon masters to attack the Silver Wing and Purple Eye demons. This was an exchange of lives. The ones who died would be demons. It wouldn't be a loss to the heavenly human race. In any case, there were nearly 7,000 demon masters outside the Heaven Destroyer base. There were also some demon masters left in the Dark Universe. Together, they would be more than enough to deal with Lu Ming and the others. In this way, even if they couldn't completely eliminate Lu Ming and the others, they could at least delay them. The heavenly human race would focus on attacking the Heaven Destroyer base. After destroying the Heaven Destroyer, it would be very easy to concentrate on dealing with Lu Ming and the others. Okay, then we'll do as you say. Withdraw the heavenly human race experts and lead the demons to kill Lu Ming and the others. Also, gather all the demon masters that can be brought out of the Dark Universe to kill Lu Ming and the Silver Wing and Purple Eye demons. Yi Immortal ordered. After the order was passed down, they immediately started to move. 5,000 of the 7,000 demon masters immediately set off to surround Lu Ming and the others. Outside the Heaven Destroyer base, there were only about 5,000 divine masters and demon masters left in the Heavenly Palace. The strength of the attack was greatly reduced. However, the Heaven Destroyer didn't know about this. They thought that this was some kind of ploy by the heavenly human tribe, so they naturally didn't dare to send anyone to attack. Meanwhile, the celestial race plundered the Dark Universe and gathered another 2,000 or so demon masters to attack. They joined forces with the previous 5,000 demon masters, making a total of 7,000 demon masters. They charged toward Lu Ming and the others. Including the purple-eyed and silver-winged races, there were about 14,000 demon masters in the Dark Universe. This was a huge force that was not much weaker than the Heavenly Palace's power. If it weren't for the internal strife between the 4 demon races, they might have been able to break out of the encirclement of the heavenly human tribe. When the 7,000 demon masters caught up to the In Ruins demon fortress, the celestial race's 7,500 divine masters all retreated back to the Heaven Destroyer base and continued to attack the Heaven Destroyer base. Only the 7,000 demon masters were left behind to chase after Lu Ming and the others. Damn it! Despicable heavenly human tribe. They want us to kill each other. Some demons roared. After seeing that their opponents were demons, the purple-eyed and silver-winged demons hesitated. If they went out and fought with the other demons, it would only weaken the demons and benefit the celestial race. Unfortunately, those demons were completely corrupted by the demon ancestral worms and became the puppets of the celestial race. Under the orders of the celestial race, they only knew how to attack crazily and were not afraid of death. However, seeing this scene, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The plan is halfway to success. Lu Ming smiled. This was exactly what Lu Ming wanted to see. His goal was to make the celestial race send demons to attack them. Therefore, when the demons fought with the celestial race, he didn't stop them. Instead, he supported the demons. Because only by continuously fighting and causing the celestial race to suffer great losses would the celestial race feel heartache and send demons to attack them. Lu Ming immediately gathered Zixian, Yin Kong, and the others for a meeting. Everyone, our chance to turn defeat into victory has finally arrived. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Turn defeat into victory? With the current situation? How can we turn defeat into victory? Zixian and Yin Kong couldn't help but ask, full of doubts. The ones fighting with us now are the demons. As long as we get rid of the demon ancestral worms in their bodies, victory will be ours, won't it? Lu Ming asked with a smile. If we can get rid of the demon ancestral worms in their bodies, they will definitely hate the celestial race after being treated like this. They will definitely attack the celestial race crazily. Then, we can indeed turn defeat into victory. However, it's not that easy to get rid of the demon ancestral worms in their bodies. They have to be soaked in water that contains the energy of the demon ancestral blood crystal for more than half an hour. If we sprinkle the water with the energy of the demon ancestral blood crystal on them, the celestial race will order them to leave immediately. It won't work at all. Zixian said. That's right. Unless we can fix them in one place and pour out a large amount of water that contains the energy of the demon ancestral blood crystal and let them soak in it for more than half an hour. No, they will be completely corroded. It will take at least an hour. How can we do that? You have to understand that they are all divine masters. They can't set up a temporary formation that is so powerful that it can trap 7,000 divine masters. Yin Kong added. Lu Ming nodded. What Zixian and Yin Kong said was reasonable. The current universe lacked formations that could deal with divine masters and above. The formations that could defend against divine masters had been strengthened over countless years and countless years. Only by combining all kinds of formations together would they have such an effect. For example, the mother planets of various races, the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer Station. It wasn't easy to set up a formation that could trap divine masters in a short time because they didn't have such a high-level formation, let alone one that could trap 7,000 fiend masters. Don't worry about that. We have a way. Lu Ming immediately told them about the 1,000 transformation ruins. He also said that Dandan could control the formations in the 1,000 transformation ruins. The 1,000 transformation ruins was left behind by a powerful formation in the last era. There were all kinds of formations left, so there was no lack of formations that could trap enemies. As long as they lured the 7,000 fiend masters to the 1,000 transformation ruins, they could trap them in a certain area and pour in water that contained the energy of the demon ancestral blood crystal to get rid of the demon ancestral worms. There's actually such a place. Zixian and Yin Kong's eyes lit up. Now, as long as you lend me the demon ancestral blood crystal, it will be enough. Lu Ming said. As for the water, he didn't lack it at all. There was a complete fragment of a continent in the ancient desolation ring. There were all kinds of large lakes. Some of the lakes had a radius of tens of millions of miles and were boundless. In addition, the heavenly star continent was also kept in the ancient desolation ring. There were all kinds of large lakes on it, so it didn't lack water at all. That's easy. Xian nodded and waved her hand. The demon ancestral blood crystal flew towards Lu Ming. Chapter 4764. Xian handed the fiend ancestor blood crystal to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took the fiend ancestor blood crystal with a wave of his hand and put it away in the chaos ring. After that, the fiend ancestor blood crystal landed in a huge lake in the stellar sky continent. The lake was huge, with a radius of 1,000,000 miles. It contained a huge amount of lake water. When the demon ancestor blood crystal fell into the lake, strands of blood-red energy spread out and dissolved in the lake water. The lake water quickly turned red like blood and spread in all directions. Xian, Yin Kong, and the others also started to move. They stopped running and took the initiative to face the demons controlled by the heavenly human tribe. They fought with them for a while and then controlled the demon castle of Yin ruins to escape. Chase, don't let them escape. The Patriarch has ordered us to use demons to exhaust them. Don't be afraid of losses. We must annihilate these demons. The one leading this group of demons was one of the 4 strongest lords of heaven, damning Lord of Heaven. She gave the order coldly. Her face was unusually gloomy. She hated Lu Ming, Xian, Yin Kong, and the others to the core. She was born in the illusory heavenly palace and was the strongest Lord of Heaven in the heavenly palace. Her status was revered. However, the illusory heavenly palace was broken into by Lu Ming, Xian, Yin Kong, and the others. They took all the treasures inside. This was a great humiliation to the heavenly human tribe in the illusory heavenly palace. Damning Lord of Heaven naturally wanted to destroy Lu Ming, Xian, Yin Kong, and the others. She led 7,000 demons and chased after the demon castle of Yin ruins. The demon castle of Yin ruins flew in the direction of the 1,000 transformations ruins. Just like that, one chased and one fled all the way into the universe ruins. Oh no, the crepe myrtle heavenly palace is in front. Don't let them go. Chase after them and don't give them a chance to attack the crepe myrtle heavenly palace. Damning Lord of Heaven shouted. During this period of time, the 4 heavenly palace and some important places of the heavenly palace had been moved to the universe ruins. Coincidentally, the crepe myrtle heavenly palace was in the direction that Lu Ming and the others were heading. Therefore, when the great dream Lord of Heaven saw the demon castle of Yin ruins flying in this direction, he thought that Lu Ming and the others' target was the crepe myrtle heavenly palace. Naturally, he led the demons to pursue with all his might. However, Lu Ming's destination was naturally not the crepe myrtle heavenly palace. They did not know that the crepe myrtle heavenly palace was in this direction. Before they could see the crepe myrtle heavenly palace, they had already arrived at the Wanhua ruins. The demon castle of Yin ruins flew directly into the Wanhua ruins. During this period of time, Dandan had already entered the myriad transformations ruins a step ahead and greeted the array spirit here. This place is a little strange. Stop. Big Dream, the Lord of Heaven shouted and ordered the demons to stop. She focused on the front, and her expression was a little uncertain. This place was obviously a ruin, a fragment of a continent left behind from the previous era. Why did the demon castle of Yin ruins fly here? My lord, if you are worried, why don't you send 5,000 demons in to investigate first and leave 2,000 outside to guard? If anything happens, there will be backup. Beside Big Dream, the Lord of Heaven, a burly heavenly human tribe man suggested. This burly man was also a top-tier Lord of Heaven. Although he was not as strong as the Lord of Heaven like Big Dream, the Lord of Heaven, there was not much difference. Big Dream, the Lord of Heaven, was not the only one from the heavenly human tribe. There were about 100 of them gathered around Big Dream, the Lord of Heaven. That makes sense. Let's do that. You guys, lead 5,000 demons in to check the situation. I will personally guard outside. If anything happens, immediately report to me. Big Dream, the Lord of Heaven ordered. Yes. Immediately, 50 heavenly humans led 5,000 demons in pursuit of the 1,000 transformations ruins. They kept going deeper into the 1,000 transformations ruins. Unknowingly, they came to the center of the 1,000 transformations ruins and saw the demon castle of Yin ruins from afar. What the hell? A top-tier Lord of Heaven frowned. He felt that something was wrong. Could it be that Lu Ming and the others wanted to stop fighting with them? That was exactly what they wanted. However, out of caution, he did not order them to attack immediately. Instead, he sent 100 demons to check the situation first. They are cautious. Only 5,000 demons came. But that's enough. Dandan, you can do it. Within the demon castle of Yin ruins, Lu Ming saw the heavenly human tribe's actions clearly. Things were not perfect. He had planned to kill all 7,000 demons in one go, but unfortunately, only 5,000 demons came. The other 2,000 demons were obviously waiting outside. However, 5,000 demons were enough. If he could get rid of all the demon ancestral worms in their bodies, the balance of strength between the two sides would be broken. All right, my friends are getting impatient from waiting. Dandan grinned and then sent a message with a special method. The next moment, the 1,000 transformations ruins, including the surrounding void, was filled with dazzling light. Endless light spread and turned into endless runes. The runes intertwined and formed many large arrays. All of them were arrays that could trap enemies. They formed layers of cages to trap the 5,000 demons and 50 heavenly human tribe members. We've been tricked. Attack, break through these arrays and rush out. You want to trap us with arrays? Dream on. Several Lord of Heaven shouted and ordered the 5,000 demons to attack. Roar. The 5,000 demons roared and attacked with all their might. Demonic chi soared into the sky and 5,000 attacks bombarded in one direction. Boom, boom, boom. An earth-shattering explosion erupted. However, what made the heavenly human tribe members dumbfounded was that the arrays were unharmed when the 5,000 demons attacked together. At most, it could only cause a slight ripple. How was that possible? What array in the universe could withstand the joint attack of 5,000 demon masters? Unless it was an array like the Heaven Destroyer base that had spent dozens of stellar years and a huge amount of resources to create. Only then would it have such an effect. Why would such an array suddenly appear here? A remnant array from the last era. The heavenly human tribe members' hearts trembled as they thought of this. Attack quickly. You lowly demons, attack with all your might. A Lord of Heaven roared and ordered 50 million demons to attack crazily. However, it was still useless. The defensive power of the array here was too strong. Its level was shockingly high. Even though countless years had passed and its power had weakened a lot, it was still not something that the 5,000 demon masters could break in a short time. No matter how they attacked, it was useless. The 5,000 demon masters were trapped in a certain range. Dandan, ask your friends to attack and kill those 50 heavenly human tribe members. Lu Ming said to Dandan. With those 50 heavenly human tribe members inside, it would be difficult to move later. If they poured the lake water containing the demon ancestor blood crystal to help those demons get rid of the demon ancestor bugs, it would take at least an hour. At that time, if those heavenly human tribe members saw that the demon ancestor bugs were about to be removed and went crazy and killed the demons inside, wouldn't that be a huge loss? Therefore, they had to get rid of these heavenly human tribe members first. Chapter 4765. It's just 50 of them. That's easy. Dandan chuckled. His eyes flickered with cold, killing intent as he sent a message to his array spirit friend. In the next moment, a new array formation appeared. This time, it was an offensive array formation. Hundreds of sword lights condensed and shot toward the 50 heavenly human race beings. The sword light avoided the demons and went straight for the heavenly humans. These sword lights were extremely powerful. Every single one of them was extremely frightening. Immediately, more than a dozen heavenly humans were pierced by the sword lights and died on the spot. Although the other heavenly humans tried their best to resist, they were more or less injured. Even the top Lord of Heaven had a wound on his body. Blood flowed out. However, the sword lights had no intention of stopping. They continued to kill. Screams rang out continuously as heavenly humans were killed. Block it for me. Block these sword lights for me. The remaining heavenly humans roared and controlled the demons to surround themselves. They wanted to use the demons' bodies to block the sword lights. However, these were all useless. The sword lights directly shattered the void, bypassed the demons, and continued to kill the heavenly humans. In the end, all 50 heavenly humans were killed, including the top heavenly lord. Their fates were the same. Amazing! If we can lure the heavenly humans, including the Immortal, here and kill them all with the array formation, wouldn't it be once and for all? Lu Ming muttered in his heart. However, he also knew that it was impossible. If most of the people chasing them were from the heavenly humans, it would not be so easy to lure them here. That was because the myriad transformations ruins looked abnormal. Anyone with discerning eyes could see the traces of an array formation at a glance. If there was something abnormal, they would naturally not enter easily. However, it was different for the demons. Those heavenly humans did not take the lives of the demons seriously at all. Even if they knew that something was wrong, the ones who died were the demons. They did not care even if they lost a large number of demons. Moreover, those heavenly humans thought that with 5,000 demons, it would not be difficult for them to break out of the encirclement even if something was wrong. Therefore, even if they knew that something was wrong, they still rushed in. They could lure the demons here, but it was almost impossible for them to lure the heavenly human tribe here. Therefore, Lu Ming didn't use this method when it was the heavenly human tribe that was chasing after them. This method could only be used once. If it were to be exposed, it would be impossible to lure the demons over. Now, all that was left was the final step. Lu Ming charged out of the devil castle of In ruins and into the sky. With a thought, the great desolation ring lit up and a huge vortex appeared in the sky. A huge amount of blood-red lake water poured out from the whirlpool into the formation. More and more blood-red lake water appeared, and the 5,000 demons were soon drowned by the massive amount of blood-red lake water. Those fiends roared. At first, they struggled and howled in pain. That was because the ancestral fiend blood crystal's energy had already seeped into their bodies through the lake water and began suppressing the ancestral fiend insects. After a while, when the devil ancestor insect was suppressed to a certain extent, the demons calmed down. They quietly sank into the lake and remained motionless. The ancestral fiend blood crystal's energy began to completely remove the ancestral fiend insects. Outside the myriad transformations ruins, the great dream lord of heaven and the rest led 2,000 demons and demon masters and waited quietly. However, after 10 minutes, there was no movement at all. They also didn't receive any news. This made the great dream lord of heaven's face turn gloomy. In fact, the 50 heavenly human tribe members that were killed wanted to send a message to the great dream lord of heaven before they died, telling him that they had been tricked. Unfortunately, the formation isolated them and the voice transmission jade talisman couldn't send a message at all. As for the illusory godly jade, it was useless in the universe ruins. Although the laws of the universe ruins had become orderly now, it was a huge project to let the illusory godly jade transmit a message in the universe ruins. It would take a long time. In addition, it required an extremely strong expert to do it. This was because the universe ruins was too big. It was impossible to do it in such a short time. Send a message to them and ask what's going on. The great dream lord of heaven instructed a heavenly human tribe member. The heavenly human tribe member immediately took out the voice transmission jade talisman to send a message, but he realized that the message couldn't be sent out at all. The great dream lord of heaven's face turned even gloomier and uglier. She had a bad feeling in her heart. What exactly happened in the ruins? The great dream lord of heaven whispered. However, she didn't dare to go in to investigate. If even the 5,000 demon masters had met with misfortune, wouldn't it be even more dangerous for the 2,000 demon masters to enter? Then she ordered 10 demon masters to fly into the myriad transformations ruins to investigate the situation. Naturally, they didn't return. As soon as the 10 demons entered the depths of the myriad transformations ruins, they were captured by Lu Ming and the rest. Instead of killing them, they were all thrown into the formation and soaked in the lake water that contained the energy of the demon ancestor blood crystal. Damn it, what's going on? The great dream lord of heaven roared as she became more and more anxious. However, she couldn't think of a way, nor did she dare to go in. She could only wait anxiously outside the myriad transformations ruins. Soon, more than an hour passed. Look, it's the In ruins demon castle. A heavenly human race god master suddenly shouted. The In Ruins demon castle flew out from the depths of the myriad transformations ruins. However, the 5,000 demon masters under their control were nowhere to be seen. Retreat, retreat quickly. The great Dream Lord of Heaven shouted. There were 5,000 demon masters in the In Ruins demon castle, while they only had 2,000. The difference in strength was too great, and they couldn't fight head-on. They could only retreat and wait for the 5,000 demon masters to appear. A cold voice came from the In Ruins demon castle. The In Ruins demon castle quickly flew through the air and chased after the great Dream Lord of Heaven and the rest. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Lu Ming and the rest naturally wouldn't miss it. If these 2,000 demon masters escaped to the Heaven Destroyer's base, it would be difficult to deal with them. Now was the best chance to catch them all in one fell swoop. The great Dream Lord of Heaven led the 2,000 demon masters and fled quickly. The In Ruins demon castle chased after them. However, they didn't fly far. In the void in front of the great Dream Lord of Heaven and the rest, dense demonic energy suddenly filled the air. The demonic energy soared into the sky, and a large number of demons appeared. 5,000 demon masters. They were the 5,000 demon masters that had disappeared. The great Dream Lord of Heaven and the rest were overjoyed. Although they didn't know why the 5,000 demon masters had appeared behind them after chasing them into the ruins. However, it was fine as long as they were fine. The great Dream Lord of Heaven led the 2,000 demon masters and rushed toward the 5,000 demon masters. However, when the two sides approached, the great Dream Lord of Heaven's heart suddenly contracted. Her eyes were filled with shock and confusion, because she realized that something was wrong with the 5,000 demon masters. Chapter 4766. Big Dream Lord of Heaven soon discovered that something was wrong with these 5,000 demon masters. Originally, the 5,000 demon masters were corroded by the demon ancestral worm and lost their intelligence. They were reduced to puppets, and their eyes were muddle-headed. But it was different now. In the eyes of these demons, apart from brutal killing intent, there was also deep-seated hatred. And the target of this hatred was them. To be precise, it was their celestial race. There was only one possibility, and that was that these demons had regained their consciousness, and the demon ancestral worm in their bodies was at least suppressed. How was this possible? They had only disappeared for more than an hour, and these demons had recovered? However, the truth was right in front of her, and she had no choice but to believe it. Her heart kept sinking. There were 5,000 demon masters in front and behind, and they were in fatal danger. But she was not an ordinary person. She would not easily accept her fate. Charge out to the side. Big Dream Lord of Heaven roared and controlled the 2,000 demon masters to charge to the side. Stop them. Don't let them go. The 5,000 demon masters roared and spread out, forming a fan shape and surrounding Big Dream Lord of Heaven and the others. At the same time, in the In Ruins demon castle, Lu Ming and the others also began to move. Zi Xian and Yin Kong led the 5,000 demon masters of the two royal races and rushed out of the In Ruins demon castle. They also formed a fan shape and surrounded Big Dream Lord of Heaven and the others. Surrounded from the front and back, the 5,000 demon masters led by Big Dream Lord of Heaven had nowhere to run. Soon they were caught up. Both sides collided. 10,000 against 2,000, it was too easy. However, Lu Ming and the others, as well as the 5,000 demon masters who had their demon ancestral worms removed, did not kill them. They tried their best to capture the 2,000 demon masters alive, wanting to remove the demon ancestral worms for them. This was a powerful force, and it would be a waste to kill them all. Removing the demon ancestral worms for them would instead be a powerful force against the celestial race. The battle was completely one-sided. It was one-sided. The 2,000 demon masters were constantly being suppressed and controlled. However, these 2,000 demon masters were controlled by Big Dream Lord of Heaven and the others. They fought crazily without caring about their own defense. This way, some were naturally killed. However, most of them were under control. Even more demons charged toward the Big Dream Lord of Heaven and the other 50 heavenly humans. Big Dream's Lord of Heaven's strength was indeed incomparably powerful. She charged left and right, continuously killing more than 10 demons. However, in the next moment, the two terrifying demons charged towards the Lord of Heaven. Among the demons, there were also extremely powerful demon masters who were not weaker than the most powerful Lord of Heaven. These two demon masters were existences on the same level as the Lord of Heaven. With the two of them working together, even if the Great Dream Lord of Heaven's great dream power was mysterious and unfathomable, it was difficult for him to break out of the encirclement. "I'll go kill her," Bone Demon said. His body was like a bolt of lightning as he charged towards Big Dream Lord of Heaven. Bone Demon held the purple gold battle axe in his hand. This was one of the divine weapons of the heavenly court. Its power was extremely powerful and astonishing. The purple gold battle axe slashed towards Big Dream Lord of Heaven, causing Big Dream Lord of Heaven to be greatly alarmed. Her figure was like a dream as it split into hundreds of figures. In the end, she successfully dodged the attack of the purple gold battle axe. However, the other two powerful demon masters also charged over. Facing three existences of the same level, Big Dream Lord of Heaven was practically powerless to resist. She could only dodge with all her might. Great Dream Domain. Big Dream Lord of Heaven gave a low shout. The Great Dream Domain spread out, enveloping Bone Demon and the two strongest demon masters. Once, Big Dream Lord of Heaven used this move to make all the living beings in an entire galaxy fall into a dream and be at the mercy of others. The effect of this move was extremely shocking against existences of the same level. Big Dream Lord of Heaven was known as one of the 4 strongest Lords of Heaven. She was the most terrifying and most dangerous existence because of her Great Dream Domain. It was impossible to guard against it. Back then, Lion still needed to cooperate with another top-notch Divine Lord to be able to fight against Big Dream Lord of Heaven. Once the Great Dream Domain was released, the other two strongest demon masters were a little dazed. Their attacks paused for a moment. To Big Dream Lord of Heaven, the opponent's attacks paused for a moment. It was enough for her to escape. Unfortunately, this time, she miscalculated. Bone Demon didn't have any reaction to her Great Dream Domain. Bone Demon's attacks didn't stop at all. The purple gold battle axe continued to slash towards Big Dream Lord of Heaven. Big Dream Lord of Heaven obviously didn't expect that Bone Demon wasn't affected at all. She wanted to dodge, but it was already too late. Poof! The purple gold battle axe struck her. At the crucial moment, Big Dream Lord of Heaven used all her methods to dodge. Moreover, there was an automatic defensive treasure on her body that activated at the crucial moment. But it still couldn't block the purple gold battle axe. The defensive treasure shattered. Big Dream Lord of Heaven's body flew out. A terrifying wound appeared on her body. She was almost split in half. Although her body wasn't completely split in half, the purple gold battle axe contained a terrifying destructive power. It still caused her heavy injuries. Blood continuously spurted out from her mouth. Her face was deathly pale. There wasn't a trace of blood. But why didn't my Great Dream Domain affect you at all? Big Dream Lord of Heaven roared. Her eyes revealed a look of despair. She knew that in her current state, it was impossible for her to escape from the hands of 3 experts of the same level. Before she died, she wanted to understand why Bone Demon could defend against her Great Dream Domain. You, a mere divine lord, want to shake my soul fire? Ridiculous. Bone Demon said indifferently. He was originally an existence of the Origin Realm. Although his cultivation realm had fallen below the Origin Realm and his origin root had dissipated, his soul fire was still not something a divine lord could compare to. You, Big Dream Lord of Heaven's eyes revealed a look of understanding. At this moment, the attacks of the 2 strongest demon kings had already arrived. Big Dream Lord of Heaven was naturally unwilling to die like this. She fought back with all her might. However, Bone Demon's attack just now had caused too much damage to her. It was difficult for her to maintain her peak strength. In addition, Bone Demon had also arrived. Even if she fought with all her might, she couldn't do it. After barely resisting a few moves, Bone Demon chopped off her head. Her corpse was torn apart by the 2 strongest demon kings. The generation's strongest Lord of Heaven had fallen just like that. As for the remaining dozens of heavenly humans, they were all killed as well. Of the 2,000 demon kings, about 800 were killed. The remaining 1,200 were sealed and controlled. Yin Kong, Zixian, I didn't think that your two races would save us. This time, my race owes you a favor. A muscular demon flew over to Zixian, Yin Kong, and the others. This person had a golden horn on his head that looked like it was made of gold. This was another one of the 4 demon royal clans. The current leader of the Golden Horn clan was called Jianghu. This time, we demons were tricked by the heavenly humans. We were almost completely wiped out. Our common enemy is the heavenly humans. We saved you to deal with the heavenly humans. Zixian said indifferently. Although we are enemies, my Jianghu clearly distinguishes between kindness and hatred. This time, we owe you a favor. We will definitely return it in the future. Jianghu smiled. Chapter 4767. If you want to talk about favors, you should thank Lu Ming. He was the one who helped us obtain the demonic ancestor blood crystal. Previously, he was also the one who designed it. With the help of his friends, we trapped all of you with the array. Only then did we have the chance to help you get rid of the demonic ancestor worm. Zixian pointed at Lu Ming and said. Kazu and the others looked at Lu Ming. A human? Jiao will remember this favor. Kakuzu grinned. What are you going to do now? Zixian asked Kakuzu. We're going to kill the heavenly human race, of course. Those despicable heavenly human race actually used us as puppets. That's unforgivable. I won't be able to get rid of the hatred in my heart if I don't kill all of them. Kakuzu said coldly. His eyes were ferocious and filled with murderous intent, like a ferocious beast. The demons with Kakuzu were similar. They were filled with murderous intent and couldn't wait to kill the heavenly human race immediately. Their hearts were filled with anger and murderous intent when they thought about how they had been corrupted by the ancestral demon bugs and completely turned into puppets for the heavenly human race. If Lu Ming, Zixian, and the others hadn't saved them, they would have been reduced to walking corpses and puppets for the heavenly human race for the rest of their lives. It was even worse than killing them. That's exactly what I wanted. The heavenly human race is now besieging the Heaven Destroyer. Lu Ming and the others are from the Heaven Destroyer. Let's go to the Heaven Destroyer's base and attack from both sides with the Heaven Destroyer. We can defeat the heavenly human race in one fell swoop. Zixian immediately said. Lu Ming smiled. Sure enough, he was right. Once the ancestral demon bugs were removed, those demons would never let the heavenly human race go. Without him saying anything, those demons would attack the heavenly human race. Now, the total number of demons here was close to 11,000. In addition to the 5,000 almighty from the Heaven Destroyer, their numbers were no less than the heavenly palaces. In fact, they had even more almighty than the heavenly palace. There were only 2,000 demon masters left in the heavenly palace, while there were only 16,000 divine masters left in the heavenly palace. Among them, the Battle Saint tribe, the Buddha race, the demon ancestor, and the spirit race had already left. In addition to the losses they suffered during this period of time, the heavenly palace had less than 15,000 God Lord realm experts. With the addition of the 2,000 demons, there were less than 17,000. However, some of them were divine masters who were chasing after the escapees. There were about 2,000 of them. As a result, there were less than 15,000 divine masters left around the Heaven Destroyer's base. It was a rare opportunity to kill them now. After discussing for a while, they began to act. Of course, the first thing to do was to get rid of the demon ancestral insects from the 1,200 fiend demon masters that they had just suppressed. This was very simple. They returned to the myriad transformations ruins and threw these 1,200 fiend demon masters into the lake that contained the energy of the demon ancestral blood crystal. After more than an hour, these 1,200 fiend demon masters all returned to normal. Once these fiend demon masters returned to normal and learned of their fate, they were naturally enraged. They howled and shouted that they wanted to kill the celestial race and take revenge. All the fiend demons entered the Yin Ruins demon castle. Then, the In Ruins demon castle broke through the void and headed toward the Heaven Destroyer's base. The Myriad Transformations ruins was originally located in the ruins of the universe, so it wasn't very far from the Heaven Destroyer's base. In just a little over 2 days, they arrived near the Heaven Destroyer's base. Even from afar, one could hear a loud explosion coming from the distant void. In the vicinity of the Heaven Destroyer's base, there were about 15,000 Divine Masters in addition to the 2,000 Fiend Demon Masters. They were divided into 2 groups and took turns to attack the Heaven Destroyer's base's array formation. After not seeing each other for some time, the Heaven Destroyer's base's array formation had dimmed by quite a bit. At this rate, the Heaven Destroyer's base's array formation would be broken in 200 years at most. Kill the celestial race. Kill them. All the fiend demons were enraged. Their eyes flashed with murderous intent as they rushed out of the In Ruins demon castle. About 11,000 fiend demon masters filled the air with demonic chi and demonic might. Their cries shook the sky as they charged toward the Heavenly Palace's experts. The Heavenly Palace's experts noticed the fiend army from afar. What's going on? So many fiend demon masters. What happened? Could it be that the fiend ancestral worm in their bodies has been removed? Countless heavenly humans experts were shocked beyond words and yelled in disbelief. Those who were attacking the Heaven Destroyer's base couldn't help but stop. Even if it was Yi Xiao, at this moment, his heart was going crazy. However, he was someone who had experienced countless storms after all, so he quickly calmed down. Stop attacking the Heaven Destroyer's base first. Gather and deal with the fiend demons first. Ye Immortal's roar reverberated throughout the area. Swish, 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 swish. The Heavenly Palace's divine masters gathered together. Ye Immortal yelled when the fiend army was close to them. Nearly 15,000 divine Lord Realm existences attacked at the same time. Terrifying attacks tore through the void as they attacked the evil demon army. Kill! The fiend army roared as demonic chi surged. They attacked with all their might and blocked the attacks of the Heavenly Palace's experts. In the next moment, the 2 sides clashed and engaged in close combat. In an instant, many people from both sides were killed. However, the fiend army had fewer divine masters, so they were at a disadvantage and lost more divine masters. Kill! Lu Ming yelled as he stabbed out his war god's spear and killed a heavenly human. Lu Ming die. The heavenly human race's experts had their eyes on Lu Ming. A powerful lord of heaven charged toward Lu Ming. However, Guimo, who was beside Lu Ming, struck out with his purple golden battle axe and split a lord of heaven in half. The terrifying power destroyed his soul as well. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the 10,000 gods didn't separate from Guimo. With Guimo's protection and their own combat strength, they were safe for the time being. Everyone from Heaven Destroyer, this is a golden opportunity. Why don't you attack and destroy the Heavenly Palace? What are you waiting for? Lu Ming yelled. His voice was transmitted to the base of Heaven Destroyer. At the same time, his body swelled and emitted a dazzling light. He wanted the people from Heaven Destroyer to see him. It's Lu Ming. Those fiends were brought here by Lu Ming. There's no problem. The experts of Heaven Destroyer were overjoyed when they saw Lu Ming. They didn't attack immediately just now because they were afraid of falling into a trap. The fiends were clearly controlled by the heavenly human race. They were afraid that this was a show between the heavenly human race and the fiends. The purpose was to lure them out and then kill them all. However, after seeing Lu Ming, they knew that the fiends were really fighting with the heavenly human race. It wasn't a conspiracy. So, divine masters, let's kill our way out. Lion was the first to roar. The other experts also roared. Open the array and kill our way out. The array formation of Heaven Destroyer's base was opened, and 5,000 divine masters charged out. Chapter 4768. The 5,000 Almighty from Heaven Destroyer charged out. Their killing intent soared to the sky, and their eyes were fierce. They pushed their combat power to the limit and charged toward the Heavenly Palace powerhouses without any regard for their lives. The people from Heaven Destroyer were really frustrated. For more than 500 years, they could only hide in Heaven Destroyer's base and let the Heavenly Palace attack them continuously. They couldn't fight back, and it was really frustrating. Now that they had the chance, they naturally wanted to vent. The 5,000 Almighty from Heaven Destroyer charged out from behind the Heavenly Palace, and the expressions of the Heavenly Palace powerhouses changed drastically. Naturally, they couldn't concentrate their forces to deal with the demons. They could only send 5,000 Almighty to fight against the people from Heaven Destroyer. There were more than 30,000 divine masters on both sides, and an unprecedentedly chaotic battle broke out in this region. At least, in this era, it was really unprecedented to send so many Almighty to fight in such a chaotic battle. Even in the battle between the heavenly human tribe and the primitive divine spirit, there were far fewer Almighty than this. More than 30,000 Almighty were fighting in a chaotic battle. It was terrifying, and the destruction caused was shocking. Fortunately, this was the ruins of the universe, and there were no other continental fragments around except for Heaven Destroyer's base. Therefore, there was no destructive disaster. If this was the universe, one star zone after another would be destroyed. In Heaven Destroyer's base, countless living beings looked into the void with deep shock in their eyes. This scene was like an epic battle, and the impact on them was too strong. The Almighty, who were usually high and mighty, were just small soldiers in such a great battle. There were Almighty dying at every moment. Their bodies were torn apart, and their bodies and souls were destroyed. In just over 10 minutes, more than 1,000 Almighty from both sides had died. The Heavenly Palace was gradually at a disadvantage and was forced to retreat. Logically speaking, although the number of Almighty from the Heavenly Palace was less than the demons and Heaven Destroyer combined, it was still a lot less. At most, it should be less than 1,000. They shouldn't be defeated so quickly. However, the morale and fighting spirit of the Heavenly Palace were far inferior to that of the demons and the Heaven Destroyer. The Abyss Devils were warlike and ferocious to begin with. On top of that, they had been corrupted by the heavenly human tribe's demon ancestral worm and turned into puppets. Their hatred for the heavenly human tribe was simply monstrous. They were not afraid of death and wanted nothing more than to kill the entire heavenly human tribe. On the other hand, Heaven Destroyer's morale and fighting spirit weren't bad either. They had been holding back for so many years, and now, they were bursting out together. At the same time, they also understood that this battle was extremely important to them. If they could win, the Heaven Destroyer situation would be completely revived. If he was defeated, then he would be in real danger. Therefore, the people of Heaven Destroyer were also fighting with their lives on the line. On the other hand, the Heavenly Palace was the complete opposite. Among the fighters from the Heavenly Palace, there were more than 1,000 divine lords from other clans. These divine lords did not have much fighting spirit. They were already dissatisfied with the heavenly human tribe. Usually, he was bullied by the heavenly human race and influenced by those who escaped from the heavenly prison. Among them, there were also experts from other clans. It was just that they were not as bold as the Battle Saint tribe, the Buddhist race, the demon ancestor, and the spirit race to directly leave the heavenly palace. However, they were naturally unwilling to sacrifice themselves for the heavenly human tribe. Therefore, during the battle, these people naturally played along and would not really fight with their lives on the line. As for the heavenly human tribe, their fighting spirit was not high either. The main reason was that the difference was too great. Originally, the heavenly human tribe, or the heavenly palace, had the absolute advantage. They controlled the demons and besieged the Heaven Destroyer. It was as if they were going to unify the universe. However, not long after, the situation had completely changed. The people of the heavenly human tribe could not accept this. The blow was too great. They were a little confused, and their fighting spirit was naturally not high. In this way, although the difference in numbers between the two sides was not much, the heavenly palace was steadily losing ground. If they retreated, the situation would be even worse. Many people's fighting spirit would be even lower, and it would be difficult for them to exert their combat strength. They were also suppressed, and their losses were increasing. The expressions of the Yi Immortal, Yi Qiuxian, and the others became more and more gloomy. Patriarch, what should we do? If this continues, we will suffer heavy losses. A lord of heaven asked the Yi Immortal. The Yi Immortal's expression became more and more unsightly. Retreat, retreat. The Yi Immortal was very decisive. He directly ordered a retreat. Gather, retreat. A lord of heaven's roar echoed throughout the battlefield. The elites of the heavenly palace were greatly energized. They gathered together, not to attack, but to defend. At the same time, the heavenly human tribe controlled the remaining 2,000 demons to line up at the front as the main force to resist the attacks from all sides. The strength of the two sides was originally not much different. The heavenly palace focused on defense and immediately stabilized the situation, and no more people died. The demons and the heaven destroyer continued to attack, but they could not break through the defense of the heavenly palace. The overlords of the heavenly palace fought and retreated, quickly moving away from the heaven destroyer's base. After the evil demons and the heaven exterminating troop chased for a while, they stopped and did not continue the chase. It was meaningless to continue the pursuit. The other side was focused on defense and it was difficult for them to break through. We won. The members of the heaven destroyer were overjoyed. However, they were still wary of the demons and retreated to the heaven destroyer's base. Everyone, what are your plans next? Lu Ming asked Zixian, Yin Kong, Jiao Du and the others. Is this the legendary universe ruins? The cultivation environment of the ruins left behind by the Eldritch continent is indeed much better than the dark universe. Our race will naturally live and reproduce in the universe ruins, Jiao Du said. That's right. Since we have come out, we will naturally occupy a place in the universe ruins. Zixian also said. Yin Kong and another member of the demon royal family had the same idea. Also, their feud with the heavenly human race hadn't ended yet. They wouldn't let the heavenly human race off easily. This was exactly what Lu Ming wanted. With the demons restraining them, the heavenly human race shouldn't have the strength to attack the heaven destroyer again. The heaven destroyer could use the heaven destroyer's base as its core to expand outward, occupy a part of the territory, and recuperate. The universe ruins were now a treasure land that couldn't be missed. However, the four demon royal families still had one important thing to resolve. That was the demon ancestor blood crystal. This was the supreme treasure of the demons. None of the four demon royal families was willing to let it go. Back then, the four demon royal families fought each other because of the demon ancestor blood crystal. This time, none of them gave in. Everyone wanted to control it. Everyone listened to me. Back then, the heavenly human race had an opportunity to block you in the dark universe for countless years because of the demon ancestor blood crystal. Now, do you want to repeat the same mistake? Lu Ming said. Zixian, Yin Kong, Jiao Du and the others fell silent. They understood the reason, but they weren't willing to give up. Why don't you jointly control the demon ancestor blood crystal? You have to understand that your common enemy now is the heavenly human race. Lu Ming suggested. Chapter 4769. After a discussion, the four royal demon clans finally decided to share the demon ancestor blood crystal. The four royal demon clans would send experts to guard it together and share the benefits equally. After the discussion, the four royal demon clans bade farewell to Lu Ming and left with a whoosh. Next, the situation will be turbulent. Lu Ming sighed slightly. He could imagine that the major forces would begin to compete for the universe ruins. Now, the cultivation environment in the universe ruins was getting better and better, far surpassing the universe's starry sky. Some of the continent fragments that used to be dead had shown signs of vitality, filled with rich energy, and even primordial crystals had been dug out. It was conceivable that the cultivation environment in the universe ruins would get better and better in the future. This was the foundation of the major forces. Occupying the universe ruins was equivalent to occupying the resources. In the future, there would be more and more experts, which was the capital to dominate the universe. It was conceivable that the heavenly palace, the quasi-sage race, the demons, the heaven destroyer, and some other strong races would crazily compete for the continent fragments in the universe ruins. The entire universe had entered a new era. This is a good thing. At least the heavenly palace will no longer dominate the universe. This is more conducive to the development of the Heaven Destroyer. Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming, Dandan, and the others nodded. Such a situation was naturally more advantageous for the Heaven Destroyer. They had a chance to breathe. As long as they got the Human King's heart and collected the Human King's body, they would be able to dominate the universe in one fell swoop. Let's go back to the station, Lu Ming said. Then, they returned to the Heaven Destroyer station. At this moment, the Heaven Destroyer station was filled with cheers. After hundreds of years, the crisis had finally been resolved. Everyone felt a lot more relaxed. Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming and the others returned, Lion, Shi, Tang Jun, and the others surrounded them. Lu Ming, what's going on? Why did those demons suddenly counterattack and fight with the heavenly human race? Is it related to you? Tang Jun asked a bunch of questions. Her first instinct was that this matter had something to do with Lu Ming. Lion and the others curiously looked at Lu Ming's group. Lu Ming's group had clearly been together with the demons. Moreover, it would appear that their relationship was quite good. Let me tell you, I'm the one who contributed the most in this matter. Lu Ming only assisted me. Let me tell you, sure enough, before Lu Ming could say anything, Dandan beat him to it. Spittle flew everywhere as he recounted their experiences during this period of time. Of course, when it came from Dandan's mouth, the meaning changed. Everything became his contribution. Especially the battle in the Myriad Transformations ruins where he helped the evil demons get rid of the demonic ancestral worm, it was even more exaggerated by him. That's right. This time, if it weren't for me, Heaven Destroyer would have been in danger. In the end, Dandan concluded with a smug look on his face. Fortunately, Tang Jun, Lion, and the others knew what kind of person Dandan was, so they automatically filtered out Dandan's bragging when they heard it. But they were still stunned when they heard the last part. They didn't expect that Lu Ming and the others had gone through so much during this period of time. They even rescued the demons and successfully turned the situation around, bringing the situation of the universe to a new stage. Dandan was right about one thing. This time, if it weren't for Lu Ming and the others, Heaven Destroyer would really be in danger. Now that the universe has changed, the ruins of the universe will become a sacred place for cultivation. All kinds of heavenly treasures will be born continuously. If we want to compete with the Heavenly Palace in the future, we can't miss this opportunity. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, you're right. Next, we have to take action. We'll use Heaven Destroyer's base as the core and send out overlords to expand, Lion said. Next, the higher-ups of Heaven Destroyer gathered together to discuss their future path. After the discussion, they began to take action. They sent out overlords to occupy those continent fragments with the base as the core. In the following days, the entire universe entered an era of great competition. After the Heavenly Palace retreated, they returned to the 4 heavenly palaces and began to occupy large amounts of the ruins of the universe with the 4 heavenly palaces as the core. The demons were the same. With the 4 royal races as the core, they frantically occupied the ruins of the universe. In addition, the Battle Saint tribe, the Buddhist race, and other large races also occupied a portion. However, these races knew that their strength was limited, so they only occupied a small portion and didn't expand outwards. In just a few months, 1/3 of the explored area of the ruins of the universe was divided up by various major forces. Among them, the Quasi-Saint tribe occupied the largest area because they took the initiative and occupied 50% of the explored area. The remaining 50% was divided up by the Heavenly Palace, the demons, Heaven Destroyer, and other forces. Obviously, the Heavenly Palace seemed to be rather afraid of the Quasi-Saint tribe and didn't have any conflicts with them for the time being. Part of the reason was because they didn't have enough strength. During this period of time, the demons constantly attacked the areas occupied by the Heavenly Palace. In just a few months, both sides had fought dozens of battles of various sizes. At the same time, after the demons occupied a portion of the territory, they began to send people back to the Dark Universe and began to borrow the power of the Demon Ancestor Blood Crystal to eliminate the Demon Ancestor worms for the demons below the God Master level. As time passed, a large number of demons walked out of the Dark Universe and spread to various parts of the universe ruins to reproduce. Time passed quickly and several years passed in the blink of an eye. The entire universe had entered a new stage. Apart from the occasional fights between the demons and the Heavenly Palace, there were no other large-scale battles. All the major forces seemed to be brewing and accumulating strength with all their strength to increase their strength. Of course, the major forces didn't give up on the pursuit of the human monarch's heart. Whether it was the Quasi-Saint tribe, the Heavenly Palace, or the Heaven Destroyer, they had secretly sent people to investigate various parts of the universe ruins to look for clues about the human monarch's heart. Because the major forces understood that the human monarch's heart was the key. Because once it appeared, it was likely to immediately change the current situation. During this period, Lu Ming didn't pay attention to other matters. Those development matters could be left to others. Lu Ming wholeheartedly cultivated and crazily refined the chaos crystals to increase his strength. After a few years, Lu Ming successfully refined all the 500 million chaos crystals in his possession. His cultivation had finally advanced another step and reached the 8th level of the Divine Master Realm. After breaking through to the 8th level of the Divine Master Realm, Lu Ming's battle prowess had increased sharply. With my current battle prowess, I should be second only to the strongest Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming muttered. He was confident that if he encountered a top-notch Lord of Heaven like the silver-armored Lord of Heaven from the immeasurable demon abyss, he wouldn't be defeated and could even defeat the other party. His current battle prowess should still be a little weaker than the strongest Lord of Heaven, but it shouldn't be too big of a difference. It could be said that Lu Ming already didn't have many opponents in the Divine Master Realm.